The Himalayas, a wall of stone, snow, and myth. For centuries, these high valleys, remote, echoing, untamed, were anything but a nation. They were a mosaic of fiefdoms, fortresses on lonely cliffs, monasteries divided by rival sects, lords who answered only to their swords, a land rich in spirit, but fractured in rule. But in the 17th century, everything changed. Because in a world torn by conflict, a single man, an exile, a visionary, a spiritual titan walked into these mountains and forged the fragments into a nation. His name was Zhabdrung Ngawang Namgyal, father of Bhutan, architect of Kagyu, the land of the thunder dragon. Zhabdrung Ngawang Namgyal was born into the highest echelons of Tibetan religious life. Recognized as the reincarnation of the revered 4th Gyalwang Drukpa, he stood at the head of the powerful Drukpa Kagyu lineage. But his ascendancy came at a dangerous political moment. The rival Gelug school and their ally, the Tsangpa dynasty in central Tibet, viewed the Zhabdrung as a critical threat. The Tsangpa ruler actively intervened, challenging his legitimacy by promoting a rival claimant. This was a direct political attempt to seize control of the Drukpa lineage. This schism forced an irrevocable choice. The conflict culminated in demands for the Zhabdrung's arrest. In 1616, Zhabdrung Ngawang Namgyal abandoned his monastery at Ralung and began a sacred exodus, fleeing south to the fragmented valleys of western Bhutan. This was not a surrender. It was a strategic necessity. By severing ties with the Tibetan central authority, he ensured the autonomy of the southern Drukpa and ensured his own unchallenged spiritual and temporal authority, a prerequisite for building a new state. Traditional narratives depict this journey not as a flight, but as the fulfillment of a divine mandate, guided by prophecies attributed to the father of Bhutanese Buddhism, Guru Rinpoche. He immediately established his first base at Cheri Monastery. By framing his arrival as a prophecy, Zhabdrung gained instantaneous, non-negotiable spiritual legitimacy, allowing him to command the loyalty of the populace far faster than any feudal lord could have achieved by force alone. The foundation of the new nation was literally built in stone. Zhabdrung's political genius lay in the systematic construction of the Dzong's massive fortress monasteries that served as the physical and institutional anchors of the Drukpa state. These structures were strategically placed to fuse administrative functions with religious authority. The first Dzong, Simtokha Dzong, built in 1629, was a brilliant move. Positioned to control the vital trade and traffic routes between the western and eastern valleys, it was infrastructural control disguised as military architecture. The effort culminated in the construction of Punakha Dzong in 1637. Known as the Palace of Great Bliss, it became the nation's capital and the winter residence of the central monastic body. Punakha Dzong is a marvel of Bhutanese ingenuity, constructed entirely without the use of nails, relying instead on interlocking stones and wooden beams. The Dzong's three-courtyard layout deliberately integrated and separated governance, housing both the government and the Drukpa lineage's ecclesiastical body. This institutionalized the profound concept that adherence to the political state was inseparable from spiritual allegiance. Its inner sanctuary houses the Rangjung Kasapani, the self-manifested relic of Avalokiteshvara. The relic was so central to the Zhabdrung's claim that his refusal to surrender it to the Tsangdesi in 1617 was an explicit, uncompromising declaration of Bhutanese spiritual and political independence. The nascent state faced relentless external threats. The Tibetan Tsangpa regime launched multiple invasions to recapture the Zhabdrung. He successfully repelled at least 3 major Tibetan invasions. His commitment to true independence was highlighted in 1627 when he hosted Portuguese Jesuits, accepted their gifts of gunpowder and a telescope, but declined their offer of military alliance against Tibet. Bhutan would stand on its own. The decisive military victory came in 1634 at the Battle of 5 Lamas, where he defeated the combined forces of Tibetan invaders and rival Bhutanese lamas, a clash that cemented the unification of the country. Legend speaks of the Second Battle of Simtokha Dzong, where, with the fortress overrun, an accidental ignition of the ammunition stores miraculously destroyed the Dzong but routed the invaders. Traditional narratives credit this as divine intervention, solidifying the Zhabdrung's status as a divinely protected leader. Following military consolidation, Zhabdrungs established internal order with the codification of the Tsa Yig, the legal code. Based fundamentally on Buddhist religious law, the Tsa Yig provided a uniform legal framework that centrally controlled local warlords. Its core were the 16 acts of social piety, which mandated virtues like filial respect, reverence for elders, and strict honesty. This created a shared ideological and moral universe, transforming a mere military victory into durable national cohesion based on Buddhist ethics. To ensure the state's continuity beyond his own lifetime, Zhabdrung formalized the Cho-Sidni system, the dual kingdom that permanently balanced spiritual and temporal powers. He deliberately created 2 high autonomous offices. The spiritual pillar, led by the Gyurkhampo, chief abbot, mandated to protect the state religion Drukpa Kagyu and manage all monastic affairs. The temporal pillar, led by the Druk Daisy, secular ruler, responsible for civil administration, national management, and defense. This formalization of the Cho-Sidni system by Zhabdrung led the separation of powers, which was a brilliant piece of statecraft. By dividing authority, Zhabdrung ensured that even if a dispute arose in the spiritual succession, as his own had in Tibet, the temporal government structure would remain firmly established to maintain stability. He created a system resilient to the death of a charismatic leader. His cultural legacy was also one of unity. He institutionalized national festivals such as the annual Chichu and displayed remarkable tolerance, allowing Nyingmapas to continue their practices. This unity, not sectarian exclusion, was fundamental to the internal peace of Drukyul. In 1651, having completed his life's work, Zhabdrung Ngawang Namgyal made his final decision. He entered a great retreat, a state of deep, perpetual meditation. This was seen as the fulfillment of a prophecy that guaranteed the prosperity of the Drukpa teachings and halted future warfare. However, his physical death shortly thereafter was deliberately concealed by the government, a monumental act of statecraft maintained for over 50 years. This was an act of pure political necessity. In the volatile 17th century Himalayas, The death of the founding father would have been a catastrophic signal, instantly inviting external attack and the resurgence of internal warlords. By claiming eternal retreat of the Zhabdrung, the administration indefinitely extended the period of founding father authority. This strategy allowed the nascent Shou-Sydney structure and the Tsar-Yig legal code to become fully entrenched, preventing political fragmentation until the state structures were strong enough to stand independently. Zhabdrung effectively transitioned from a mortal ruler to the eternal, institutionalized protector of Drukpa. His spirit remains the ultimate source of legitimacy and sovereignty, a spiritual presence guarding the Thunder Dragon Kingdom he built. His legacy is Bhutan itself.